Hi, I hope you're having a great day today. Today, I want to talk about children and food. Now, if you're an adult, you can apply this to adults as well, but particularly, I want to talk about children and food. You see, we live with these mindsets that, good food equals a good body, equals good immunity, and all of that is true. But we don't understand that the food you eat doesn't mean it's going to be assimilated or absorbed or utilized by the body the right way. A simple example, all of us know someone who eats extremely healthy and organic foods and salads throughout the day and juices, and yet they have deficiencies and they have health problems. And we also know people who eat junk and all of the crap, and some of them are just fine, and we keep wondering how they're so healthy and how they have such good health and good weight, because it's far beyond just the food that we feed people. Now, what I notice today are mothers and parents are constantly after their children to eat, to the extent that it becomes a stressful period in the child's life. Meal times, meal times are times when children should actually be happy and relaxed and eating together as a family or whatever it is. But today, you'll find most children are resisting, and then the moms are chasing the kids with plates, or the servants are chasing the kids and forcing them to eat one morsel of food at a time, or there are bribes, or there's putting off an iPad on and then feeding children and stuff like that. It's practically useless, because you may feel that you've done a good job at the end of the day by getting food into their mouth. But you need to understand that if your child's system is stressed, because of what you're trying to do to feed them, the digestion and absorption of most of the minerals and vitamins is not going to happen. When your body is in the fight and flight response, which is stress mode, that's the sympathetic nervous system, you cannot absorb food the right way because your body's too busy producing cortisol and stress hormones. You need to be in the parasympathetic nervous system, which we've spoken about many, many times, which is rest and digest. When you're in the rest and digest system, the food that you eat will be assimilated and absorbed the right way. So if you're creating a stressful situation for your child while they're eating, or you're force feeding them, really the food's not going to really work for them. Now, I understand you have a genuine problem, because it is a stressful time for most parents, because kids don't want to eat, they manipulate, they don't want to eat fruits, they don't want to eat greens, and there are children like that as well. But somewhere you have to draw the line and meet this problem midway, where you decide, okay, fine, you don't want to eat, don't eat. Skip the first meal, skip the second meal. They're not going to die of starvation. They will be hungry at some point, but over here you're teaching them a lesson, and you're also respecting the fact that when you eat, you should be in a peaceful state of mind. There is no point pushing salad down an adult's throat or a child's throat if they don't like it, or if they're resisting it. Their body is just not going to absorb it. In fact, their body is going to be producing more acid and more acid, which is why today it's not just about good food, it's about how your food is cooked. Is it cooked with love? Is it served with love? Are you eating in a loving environment, in a friendly environment? Many people will laugh at this whole concept of mindfulness, but it's real. How your food gets digested is dependent on every emotion going on in your body. We all know that every emotion impacts every one of the trillion cells in your body. So you're either creating the right digestive system or the wrong digestive system. So yeah, your question would be that, how do I get my child to eat if he's fussy or he doesn't want to? You got to keep trying. It's just like when you have a problem in your business, you keep trying until you find a solution. When you have a problem in your relationship, you do the same thing. When you have a problem wherever, you try. You keep trying. You come up with creative ways. You find different ways. So many of us don't lead by example when it comes to the foods that our children want to eat. So you got to see, if you start that right from the time they're growing up, you create that culture of health in your family, you won't be having these problems. But if you're feeding them junk and their minds are getting addicted with salt and sugar and junk, there's no way your child is going to listen to you, because they're controlled by the addiction of sugar and processed foods. So when you put healthy food, which doesn't match up to the taste of what the food lobbies are producing to get children and adults addicted to, what's going to happen is they're going to refuse all of these foods. So how can you make salads? How can you make fruits? And how can you make all these basic foods attractive to your child? It's not about just garnishing the food or plate or telling them what the health benefits are. You got to really work to creating that environment of health. Games around food, motivation around food, and so many different things. But you have to have patience. You have to have patience when you're bringing them up with the food that they eat. Those 1 or 2, 3 months of patience that you put in and effort will basically shape their path for their future. So a lot of us invest a lot of money in educating our children because we want them to become doctors and engineers and all of that stuff. Educate them to be healthy as well. And that requires patience, that requires responsibility as well. So what you're feeding them doesn't just always matter. It's the way they're eating, the kind of environment you create for them, the kind of love that you give them with that food. You can change the energy of food, the way it's cooked and the way you serve it, the way someone eats it. I can eat food with disgust and anger right now. That food is going to harm me. My body acids are going to harm me. But I can eat an ice cream right now, or a pastry, or a tiramisu right now, but I can eat it with so much of love and so much of happiness and without any guilt and worry. And my body's going to break it down like this. I'm not going to worry about fat gain. I'm not going to worry about sugar levels, nothing. It's a state of mind, because your mind controls exactly how your body manifests everything that happens. You're in the right state of mind, you have the right working in your body. You're in the wrong state of mind, you have the wrong working in your body. So that's it about foods. Now, 3 foods that I want to talk about, and I will keep talking about this until it becomes a revolution. Forget about the world. Why are people unhappy in India today? I mean, look at the amount of rapes happening, the political scenes. We're unhappy and we're angry because we've been fooled for the longest time. We believe that things are changing. We believe that things are getting better. And then something happens that robs us of our faith and belief. And you take that same analogy and you apply it to food and well-being. What are the 3 basic necessities for human life? We want clean air, we want clean food, and we want clean water. And that's not being talked about anywhere. It's all about politicians, it's about the rapes that's happening, it's, all of these things. So we are unhappy, which is why we need to start taking responsibility not to be fooled anymore by all of these huge food lobbies and companies. And I'll admit it, nutritional curriculum is also rigged to an extent. The nutritional curriculum that they want us to learn in nutrition college is funded by the dairy associations, by cereal companies, by snack companies, because they want us to learn what they want us to learn so that we can sell their products indirectly to people. So my whole purpose is we got to wake up and start using common sense and understand that the more media that's used to promote products, endorse products, and sell products is because they are not good products. But when you look at an apple or an orange or things that can change your health and boost your immunity, you'll never find an ad around it. You'll never find media around it because you cannot make money out of it. So the 3 foods I'm talking about is number 1, white sugar. And I'll go on and on about this. White sugar in moderation is not going to harm you. It will not cause diabetes. It will not cause weight gain. It will not decrease your immunity. So many of us grew up with having, 2 tablespoons of sugar in a day in our tea, maybe a cookie at tea time, and we were absolutely fine. The problem is overconsumption. The problem is you're having that sugar, and then you have hidden sugars in your biscuits and in your recipes and in your Thai curries, and yes, even your salads, because salad dressings have sugar in. Different kinds of sugar, high corn fructose, white sugar, maltodextrin, dextrose, you name it. We're being fooled blindly, and we just think that because it's backed by someone great or by a company that has an evaluation of a couple of $1 million, we think, wow, and we're awed, and we start consuming their products, not using the common sense that we're born with. We got to stop being fooled. I don't want to take the names, but every fast food joint, what do you think you're putting in your body? You are creating disaster. You are doing injustice by feeding your children or your body any of that crap. I mean, there's enough of media today to show you that even the cheese that's being used in fast food restaurants is not real cheese. If it's not real cheese, what is it? And look at all the children today. Why are they so addicted to cheese and pasta and white sauce and fast food? Because that fake cheese that you're eating is nothing but chemicals, solidifiers, emulsifiers, caking agents, and all of these things designed to trick your child's mind and your adult mind into addiction. The problem is addiction, which is why people don't really like. Observe yourself right now. Many people will not like the fact that I'm telling you to cut down on your sugar, to cut down on your aerated drinks, and to cut down on fast food. You don't want to, because what I'm saying is challenging your addiction. You know it's wrong, but it's challenging your addiction, and we don't, as human beings, we're hardwired for pleasure, which means anything that takes away or is a potential threat to robbing us of our addiction, we want to retaliate or rebel against, consciously or unconsciously. So if I had to make a statement to all the young kids out there, guys, don't party anymore. Party is going to screw up your life and all of that stuff. Immediately you're going to hate me. Not that I care, but the problem is It's your addiction to that lifestyle that is creating your behavior. Well, most people will know that, yes, it is messing up my sleep, it is messing up my weight, it is messing up everything. But the answer is not giving it all up. How can you party? How can you eat a little bit of junk? How can you have a little bit of sugar and still stay healthy? That is success. So when it comes to your kids, aerated drinks, white sugar, overconsumption of white sugar, and fast food is going to be the reason for you spoiling their health. Period. That is going to be the reason. No matter what fancy education you do, you can produce a brilliant mind, but you don't want to produce a brilliant mind in a sick body. I have enough of children in the US who are studying today, and the UK and everyone else. Their brains, they're in Harvard, they're in Yale, they're in UCLA, you name it, but every day they're struggling with gut problems, they're struggling with eczemas and autoimmune disorders and thyroid. That's not living. That's not living. So how can you have that fine balance where you understand that these companies are out to fool you? If they're out to fool you, everything finally revolves around money. You would think that if the government is really interested in caring about you, in caring about our health, not just the economy, heavily tax everything that is creating problems with your health. We all know that tobacco companies are investors in insurance companies, and life insurance and health insurance companies are investors in the tobacco companies. Now, what does that tell you? How much more do you want to be fooled as a consumer and as a human being? But we got to wake up. We got to wake up and jump out of these empty voids that we're living in, put our foots down, and start making decisions first in our own families, first ourselves, and then take it out to everyone else. We have to take it out to everyone else. When we go to rural villages in India to treat patients who are sick and have cancer, I can't tell you how far things like Maggi noodles, Marlboro cigarettes, biscuits, cream biscuits have flooded the villages. And villagers think that, wow, we're having things that the urban cities can afford. So that's how it's sold to them. And they've given up all their vegetables, their fruits, their lentils, and they're getting sicker and sicker. This is deception. This is not growth as an economy. This is slow death and slow poisoning. So all I'm trying to say is you need to start taking responsibility today. I'm not trying to make your life miserable and say only eat fruits and pumpkin seeds and vegetables. No, eat everything, but in balance. And if parents think that it's cool feeding your children with junk, you're doing so much of injustice to your children and to this generation and to yourselves. To yourselves. We don't measure coolness with the kind of junk that we can put in our bodies or on our kids' bodies. It is so distasteful and disgusting to see most children's birthdays today that focus around more sugar and sugar and sugar and sugar. What are we setting up the generation for? To believe that you only have fun and you can only have conversation around alcohol, drugs, cigarettes, and junk food. Is that it? And that's why more and more people are getting empty and empty. You take away a glass of alcohol from someone who's constantly drinking, they can't have a conversation. They need that security to feel good, to feel big, to do it. Likewise with drugs, likewise with junk food. People can no longer socialize without food being the main kind of a thing. Let it be. Food is great. Enjoy. It's always been there. But if that becomes your only obsession and we're killing our health because we don't know how to keep our mouth shut when we're supposed to, that's the problem. And that is what is killing each and every one of us and causing suffering in this world. You can have the best doctors, nutritionists, access to the best hospitals. You can get on a flight tonight and fly first class to the US for treatment. But understand, why do you want to put your body through suffering in the first place and not invest in prevention? The answer for prevention is not the government's responsibility. It is your responsibility. It is you, because you have control over yourself and your children. What we want from the government is clean air, accessible clean food, and clean drinking water. The rest of it is up to us how we use it. And it's as simple as that. Have a great weekend, everyone. Until next time, eat smart, move more, sleep right, and breathe deep.